when I was on your website, I saw that you did all of these sorts of like adventure sort of activities that I know I personally wouldn't have considered a blind person doing. And honestly, I was already inspired to update my expectations on what others are capable of just from like scrolling through your website. I was like, what the hell? What? like like you were doing stand-up paddleboarding, which I'm a big fan of, the zip line, rappelling down a rock face, and the big one for me was bungee jumping. And like, so I want to talk about that for a second because so I've been skydiving and yet I
Mhm.
fucking refuse to do bungee jumping. I just won't do it. So I would love to hear like how that opportunity came up, like how you thought about it and the whole experience of it.
Look, I can tell you, I did actually skydive before I bungee jumped, and bungee jumping
Amazing.
was a much more terrifying experience, just given that you're more in control. So, unless you're an expert skydiver and are going to flip yourself out of the plane by yourself, generally when you first do it, you're attached to somebody else and somewhat of the
Right.
control is taken away from you. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could clutch the side of the plane and say, no, no, I'm not going. But essentially, if you're up there, the door's open, everyone's piling out of the plane, you're going too. So, having said that, you weren't really left with too much time to consider because you kind of were with somebody else and they were managing the situation. And so with bungee jumping, literally you're the one that's standing on the edge and you have to tell yourself, okay, you've got to jump. And it
Right.
is the biggest mind mess ever. And someone told me, like, don't ever wait until they count down. I think they counted from 5 down to 1. And they're like, don't ever let them get down to 0 jump because then your brain just goes, oh, well, now I don't want to do it because the time has now passed and I'm done. So I think I
Right.
left off at about, I don't know, maybe 3 or something. In between 4 and 3, I'm just like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm here to do it. I'm going.
Oh,
And um, yeah, look, I was hoarse for the next day because I screamed so loud. The
yeah.
whole neighborhood
Well,
heard that.
I've done skydiving, and I was telling friends last night at dinner actually that like I've never been so scared in my life than the moments before I stepped off the back of that plane. And I
Mm.
was also attached to a guy, like a guy who's done hundreds of jumps. But it's funny. I look back now and I wonder if my fear was even more pronounced because like I could see everybody jumping out of the plane. I could look out of the windows and see what
Mm.
I was about to do. Whereas, like you said, you kind of just relinquish control and you'd be like, well, I'm on this plane, and when we jump, we jump,
That's
and
right.
like because I was like every 30 seconds I was looking out the plane window being like, we're higher now. Oh, we're a lot higher now. And I was terrified before I jumped out of the plane. And so with bungee jumping, like when you were standing up, did you ask people like, okay, like do I need to jump far out? Can I just walk out? Or is there any like was people giving you instructions for
Yeah,
like the best
yeah.
way for
So,
you to
and
launch
look, I
yourself?
must admit, my vision was a little bit better then, so I could actually see like I jumped off of a bridge, so I could see the water underneath me.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, there's I can't really tell how far that is away, but there's water down there. Okay, cool, all right. And yeah, I said to them, I said, what's the deal? And they said, okay, they explained it like jumping off of a diving board. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, cool. And then I thought to myself, well, I've not done that either, so I don't really know what that's like. But anyway, the principle's there
That's
now.
great.
So yeah, so it was kind of jump outwards and down and just hope for the best and scream really loudly.
Right. Yeah, I swore a blue streak down that in the first minute of free fall and skydiving. I have it on video somewhere, and I'm just swearing for a minute. Like there's no other cohesive words that I'm saying. And how was your experience of bungee jumping?
um
Did you enjoy
yeah,
it?
yeah, I did. It's probably not something I would do again. And the thing that sort of tainted it a little bit for me, and I was told afterwards, was to kind of pull your knees back up into a crouching kind of position.
Mm,
So then it kind of makes you go upright while they're waiting to sort of, they come out in a little canoe kind of dinghy thing and fetch you.
right.
And no one told me that before I did it. And so you can imagine it's kind of like you're just dangling on the end of a pendulum, and so sort of
Right.
swinging backwards and forwards and sort of, round and round in a spiral kind of. And I remember looking at that lovely water and going, oh, what pretty coloured water. Oh, if I don't close my eyes again, I'm going to throw up in that water. So I think I'll just like hang here and wait.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, which I imagine is a common experience after you're dangling for so long.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, yeah. So
um,
not something I would probably put on the to do again list, but you never know. If I get the
yeah.
opportunity, I probably will.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you're braver than I am. I think it's amazing that you did it, and I think like a lot of this is about like overcoming fears, like the fears of the unknown, of relinquishing control, which I think a lot of us can relate to.